Yang berhormat Saudara Profesor Datuk Dr. Sim, Menteri Kerajaan Tempatan. Actually, he is my fullback in my team. He can kick the ball right to the goal. Yang berhormat Tan Sri Datuk Ahmad Moshidi, State Secretary. Yang berusaha Mr. Hu Yu Siong, the President of ACCCI. Distinguished guests, Datuk-Datuk, Datin-Datin, members of ACCCI, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, selamat petang, Tajia, Wachang Hao. Sini kau le kong hi bacai. Pertama kali saya mengucap terima kasih kepada ACCCI kerana pada malam ini menjemput saya dan Datin untuk sama-sama merayakan Hari Tahun Baru Cina pada malam ini. Tahun ini adalah tahun ayam jantan. Orang kata ayam jantan, tapi ayam jantan ni kuat-kuat lah. Dan saya harap this year will bring us prosperity. At the same time, will move Sarawak forward to be part of the high income economy in Malaysia. I would like to express my appreciation to the business community for their support to the state government. Today is my 35th day as your Chief Minister. I take over from the late Tok Nan. And of course, you don't expect me like Tok Nan. I cannot really pronounce Oha and Yo-Yo. But of course, the basic policy of Tok Nan will continue, as I am one of the team members of Tok Nan team when we had our election. And we were given a very strong support during the last election. And this team will definitely play the right game headed by Tok Nan. Except the captain has changed. Tok Nan is not around, and I must appreciate my colleagues in PBB as well as my colleagues in Barisan Nasional for their confidence in me to take over from Tok Nan as the 6th Chief Minister of Sarawak. I used to tell my friends in Cebu and Miri that I started my politics in Sato, and that Sato is known as N6. And now I become the 6th Chief Minister at the age of 66. Semua main anam semua. Anyway, Tok Nan has laid a very strong foundation. Actually, he continued from PN3. And we are very fortunate in Sarawak that when you transfer power, there is no problem in terms of transferring the power. It was very smooth from PN3 to Tok Nan, and also very smooth from Tok Nan to me. And this is the trademark in Sarawak, because we don't have a problem politically, and we decide on consensus. While at the same time, we take into consideration the interests and concern of all communities. I am the Chief Minister of the Chinese. I am the Chief Minister of the Malays. I am the Chief Minister of the Badayo, the Orang Ulu, the Iban, and all the other races in Sarawak, meaning I am the Chief Minister of Sarawakians. When you are the Chief Minister of Sarawakian, your concern is to protect the interests of Sarawakians. And that I will pursue. Of course, your President has mentioned about the nomination agreement. I must share with you, I have discussed with Datuk Najib in such a way that I told Datuk Najib, the nomination agreement was signed by your father, Tun Razak, representing the Federation of Malaya, and my father signed the agreement on behalf of Sarawak. And therefore, we have a common platform here. You are the son of Tun Razak, I am the son of Tun Nopeng. And therefore, we too have a job to do to make sure that what our fathers have signed must go through. And that means that the Malaysian agreement will be pursued based on the powers that have been eroded for the past 22 years. I mentioned 22 years because there was a leader who believed in central authority. And because of that, our power is eroded. And today we want to take back that power to Sarawak from Putrajaya to Petrajaya. Ladies and gentlemen, it is not easy for us to negotiate. But what we want is no more, no less. The right that we have agreed when we signed Malaysian agreement. And actually we tidak mau banyak lah. Kita yang hilang itu mesti kasih balik. And that is the principle of our negotiation. And I can assure you that I will pursue that. There have been a lot of concession by the federal government in terms of administration, in terms of education. They have agreed on certain aspects. The next one will be on finance. We are now negotiating on finance because there are certain money that should come to Sarawak instead of Kuala Lumpur. And we will pursue that based on our constitutional right. And finance is part of the item agreed and endorsed in our Malaysian constitution. And that will be pursued. And of course, your president mentioned about oil and gas. Tok Nan has requested for 20%. But you know very well that we have to be rational in our requests. The price of oil, as you know, last year was about $45 per barrel. And therefore, it's very difficult for us to really request for that 20%. But as a businessman, you should know how to negotiate. If you're going to give the 20%, you give us in due. So Datuk Najib has agreed. I told Datuk Najib, kalau tidak dapat 20%, you kasih lain cara lah. You see? Cara lain. Because we can participate in the downstream as well upstream of oil and gas. We have the technology, we have a lot of Sarawakians who can even pergi bawah cari itu minyak. And therefore, what we do is we will try to get our stake in the upstream as well as downstream. They call it marginal field. Saya cakap Sarawak punya language tekeh-tekeh. The oil minyak sudah ambil, tapi dia ada lagi masih sikit-sikit. Itu pun saya mau ambil. Itulah Sarawak boleh ambil itu sikit-sikit. And then we have to go for our downstream of oil and gas. So our approach now is not only 20%. If you cannot get that, we want to get in lieu of 20%. And we are very fortunate, Datuk Najib listened. He really listened. He negotiated. So much so that in the history of Petronas, since its inception, tidak ada orang Sarawak dalam board of Petronas. But this time around, Datuk Najib has agreed and appointed a Sarawakian in the board of Petronas in the person of Tan Sri Moshidi Ghani. The first time. In other words, our State Secretary, Tan Sri Moshidi, is part and parcel of people who can direct the policy of Petronas. Because once you're in the board, as you know, in a company, the board is the supreme authority to decide on the authority of that particular corporate body. In this particular case, kita ada Tan Sri Moshidi. Tan Sri Moshidi can explain what we want. And once the board can consider that, then Petronas will definitely take into account the interest of Sarawak. Last time we got nobody there. Dia hantam saja. Kita pun tidak tahu apa dia mau buat. Akhirnya kita rugi. Tapi ini kali kita ada Tan Sri Moshidi. Definitely the interest of Sarawak will be considered by Petronas. This is a very good concession by the federal government. Kalau orang dulu mungkin dia terima kasih. Tapi Datuk Najib dia kata boleh lah masuk Sarawak dan Sabah juga. So Datuk Najib is really helping both Sarawak and Sabah. I also take note that the President's speech mau buka bank. Tunggu dulu lah, buka bank bukan senang. Kati, of course, I tell you, I want to share with you that we must have a very definitive economic policy. Our policy must be well defined, well thought, and what is our direction. In this particular case, I want possible to leapfrog our economy from this traditional and conventional economy to digital economy. Meaning, infrastructure of ICT must be given the top priority. You know, ini Kuala Lumpur dia datang, dia kasih itu satu Malaysia komputer, bawa sekolah. Now all our sekolah equipped with computer. Dia hantar di Betong, dia hantar Serike, dia hantar Sibu, even Kuching. You know what happened to the computer when you want to make use of your computer? What you see in the monitor is this sign. You know, the circle sign. Meaning we don't have the speed available in Sarawak. The other countries, they have 50 Mbps up to 300 Mbps. Today, when you talk about technology, you talk about no more megabit per second, but terabit per second. And that is the trend. And the way you run business today is all based on ICT. If you go to go for tour, what you need now is just a smartphone. You do your booking through your smartphone. You check in through your smartphone. You go to your aeroplane, smartphone. You come out from your aeroplane, smartphone. You go and take your taxi, smartphone. And then you go to the hotel, also smartphone. And once you reach the hotel, you ask for password. That is the new trend of business as far as tourism is concerned. Meaning, if that is the trend, you deprive of travel agent. Travel agent will become old and fading. Travel agent tidak lagi ada business. Sebab itu teknologi sudah ada. Sekarang just handphone. And then you mau cari duit pun handphone juga. Because payment by handphone. Smartphone. You pay your hotel also itu telephone. That's why you notice Dr. Sim. Dr. Sim every time mesti ada handphone. So that is the way we do business. And therefore, if you want Sarawak to embrace as a part of global economy, we have to increase or improve our infrastructure, including ICT. Kalau mau jual barang dari Sarawak, you have to use that. I think you can observe what Jack Ma did. Jack Ma was an English teacher. He was teaching English. And he took part-time as a tour guide. That was the occupation of Jack Ma initially. And because he is strong in English, he mixed with the tourists, including American, and he studied the impact of e-commerce in US. He studied Amazon and he studied eBay. As you know, these are the two important e-commerce transactions. And then, of course, with that, he set up what you call Alibaba.com. When I go to the website of Alibaba, I thought it was from Egypt. I went into website, I heard about this Alibaba.com. So I typed Alibaba.com website. And I saw it's from Beijing, not Cairo. Tapi dia pintar, dia guna Alibaba. I don't know why he chose Alibaba. There must be something that he saw in Alibaba. And what happened was, as you know, China, he has that monopoly situation, and he start transacting through e-commerce. He improved the storage, he improved the logistic, and he became the main player in China. But today, he's going out of China. Of course lah, dulu dia punya Microsoft tidak boleh masuk China, Google tidak boleh masuk, Yahoo tidak boleh masuk, so dia saja. Dia untung. Tapi dia untung sebab the Chinese population market is, the consumers, 1/1 billion. But of course for us cannot lah. Kita hanya 2.7 million. What can you do? You tanam durian banyak-banyak pun, mana dapat makan durian semua? Nanti perut susah sakit oh. So you have to sell your durian outside. All our agricultural produce we have to sell outside. In order to reach out to your market, to your consumers, whether you like it or not, you have to use e-commerce. The government also respond in that way. We have e-government. Meaning everything, our delivery system is based on fast and definitive way for us to deliver our products as well as our services. And therefore, we have to go towards digital economy, and that will embrace the global economy. Ladies and gentlemen, you must also identify the location of Sarawak and Borneo. You have ASEAN, which is 600,000 population, 600 million population, 600. You have China over 1 billion. You have India also above 1 billion. Time taken to fly within this destination is only about every 6 hours. 6 hours. That will be the time taken for you to fly within America. But for us, only 6 hours, you reach the market. If you can move forward and establish your economic link within 6 hours of flight, the market is yours. For us in Sarawak, what we can do is we change the way we do business, where at the same time we have to identify what are the products that can give value to our resources. Our resources is the niche. Orang lain tidak ada, kita ada. But what we can do is, the way we handle our resources must be creative. We have to be very creative and we have to be very innovative. And then the government must be transparent. Today I said, you know, Datuk Nan has frozen the timber license on the small area. I still continue that. We freeze timber license on small area, especially the short-term license. But then we got land that have to be developed. Pieces of land, maybe 1,000 acres, they have to be developed. But then you have to cut down the trees. But I have decided to do it by tender. We want to be transparent so that everybody can put in their bid. And we are transparent in awarding the company to cut the trees. But of course ada newspaper itu reporter sometimes dia tidak tahu. They thought that I have unfreeze the frozen timber license by Adana. No, it's still there. But when the land is needed for development, including NCL or NCR, because it's their right, they want to develop their land. But when they want to develop, they have to cut the trees. And that one has to be done by tender. And that is what I have decided and I announce it today. So that everybody can bid to cut the trees. Ladies and gentlemen, itu pasal ekonomi ya. Mau tidak mau kita mesti naik atas. We must embrace and uplift the horizon of economy, and I am going to do that. Today, as I said, only 35 days. Saya lagi fikir-fikir. Saya tidak tahu, bukan senang jadi Ketua Menteri. Susah. But with the support of my colleagues, I think whatever task or heavy it is, I think can be ringan lah. Provided we have that definitive policy. I'm going to ask the SS to have an international conference to get experts throughout the world to give the input. And then we will consider, of course, what are the inputs like, how are we going to formulate our economic policy, because we are a very small country, we have a very small population, but those small, we must embed. Kerana Deng Xiaoping cakap itu macam. Deng Xiaoping cakap, you know, be cool, cool head. Itu Deng Xiaoping, low profile, never lead, but aim for higher things, bigger things. That is Deng Xiaoping. So saya pun ikut Deng Xiaoping. Biar kita small, but we are big. Betul lah Konsul Jeneral ada sini. Kalau dia black pocket, white cat, irrespective of the color, as long as it catches the mice. Sarawak banyak cat tau. Kita banyak kucing, we can catch the mice anytime. So that is our philosophy. We will move forward, but definitely we must have good ideas and new ideas for us to move forward. And the business community must also change the way they manage their business, and their horizon must be beyond Sarawak. Sarawak kecil. Therefore, resources kita ada, kita punya power, kita banyak, kita punya air, kita banyak, kita punya tanah, we can improve, and then we can actually, talent Sarawak ada. You know, I went to Singapore, I got a friend, 3 of them. One from Lundu, one from Padungan. They are top banker in Singapore. He's from Lundu. This one is doing private banking. Dulu dia kerja sama Paribas. But now he has his own private banking in Singapore. And he's from Lundu. Chinese lah. Then the other one, of course, from Padungan. Also a banker. And then a lot of Sarawakian in Singapore. And the one looking after the barrage in Singapore barrage, dekat itu Marina Bay, is a Sarawakian from Bintulu in Singapore. Meaning, Sarawakian got the talent. Sarawakian got the expertise. Then we must nurture the expertise, create good environment, and become world player. That is the aim of the administration under my leadership. Saya nak pergi itu macam. Kalau Lee Kuan Yew can change Singapore from a muddy island into what is today, we can also change Sarawak from a small state to a bigger state that has a lot of things to do. Lee Kuan Yew ada satu buku, dia kata dalam buku itu apa nama, chance in a lifetime, something like that buku Lee Kuan Yew buat. And I am very fortunate that I had Lim Cheong Yew as my partner when I was Minister of Industry, the late Lim Cheong Yew, Chief Minister of Penang. And Chief Minister of Penang, the late Tun Lim, is a very close friend to Lee Kuan Yew and Goh Keng Swee, the economic minister. And I think I learned a lot how Singapore transformed. And therefore that can become our model. We can also change Sarawak into that because kita banyak resources. I met the Foreign Minister of Singapore, Dr. Vivian. He told me, if only Singapore ada itu air macam Sarawak. He said, we can also develop just like Sarawak. And they said Sarawak can become like another Singapore. And this is what the foreigners look at us. And therefore, I will try my best to identify the direction first, explore what is the best, and I hope we can move forward with a new direction in our economy, and the business community must also go together, come together, and then we interact with the international business community. With that sort of a linkage, I have feeling that we can prosper and become a high-income economy. Another one is we must protect our environment. I have made my mind that when we want to get investment coming in, we have to be very selective. Very selective. We want to give priority to clean industry, not the polluted industry. Once you bring polluted industry into Sarawak, there's a cost to it. One is to manage the polluted environment. There's a cost to it because you have to manage the environment. Number two, sometimes they ask for cheap electricity. Why should we give cheap electricity if we can get more profit from our electricity? And number three, the level of employment is not that high, great employment. Sometimes it's semi-skilled. So our people who are trained in universities, they come out, they become unemployed graduates. And therefore, the demography has to change, and I would like more clean industry to come here. Services is the clean industry. You are talking about tourism just now. I dengar lah. You're talking about visa. So we have a visa solution. Last time Miri was not gazetted as visa for Chinese tourists. I said we have immigration power. We exercise our immigration power. We have special pass for Chinese tourists to come to Sarawak through Miri. Because kita ada power apa? Kita belum serah lagi. That one we must retain. That immigration power, the part of our autonomy. And then, of course, besides China, we also have India. Di mana kita ada special arrangement for India. If you have all the people in the services industry should exploit that sort of arrangement, and that will become an activity for our tourism industry. Tourism susah mau lawan Sarawak. Dia punya eco attraction susah mau lawan. Kita better than the other state. The only thing is connectivity is a problem. But I will try to solve that within 6 months. Of course, we had Hong Kong Airline, we have the charter flight, but within 6 months, when we have one important factor that I won't reveal tonight, I tak mau reveal, I think we can solve the connectivity problem. Because this is all economic problem. There must be solution. Karena ICT is also a solution. You know, ICT, they started with internet. After internet, migrate to application, apps, and then now is robotic. The third one is robotic. Medical care will be robotic. Betul lah, Dr. Sim ah. Mau tanya Dr. Sim ah, doktor. Sekarang pun open heart surgery pun tidak guna open heart lagi. There's already a new technology for you to solve your heart problem. Tengok dia sudah cakap dah. Tengok. No, this is something which is new. But then for us, we can manufacture that particular tool. And that is the new economy that we have to pursue. So ladies and gentlemen, saya fikir saya cakap itu sajalah ini malam. Sebab saya baru 35 hari. Lagi fikir-fikir. Cari what is the best direction. But give me time. I can assure you there are something coming up for Sarawak within this year. Maybe within 6 months. Maybe within 6 months, something will come up that I can promise you that will have an impact on our economy. Finally, when I formed the cabinet, there's a ministry called Ministry of Finance and Economic Planning. This is a strategic move. And then that economic planning, which is under me, will monitor strategic project. We must focus on strategic project where we can become global player. And hopefully this strategic project will give return to Sarawak. And that will spur the other project, the other economic activities out of this strategic project. One day, maybe I will inform you, but not tonight. Tonight, just celebrate dulu lah ayam ainan jantan. Nanti kita celebrate other times, but I can assure you that our approach has to be different. And ultimately, if possible, Sarawak financially, not politically, financially, we can be independent of Putrajaya. We are on our own. Of course, it doesn't mean that we don't need their assistance. We need them because that is the obligation of federation. In any federation, the center must have the subsidiary center. But let the subsidiary center, for us, we must be a bit independent and autonomous, where our right is concerned, as well as our economic development is concerned. You study the state in Germany. Only one state in Germany, very strong. And that state determined the leadership of Germany. We want to be like that state in Malaysia. So ladies and gentlemen, with that, thank you very much. I hope we can work together, especially the business community. I can assure you that under my leadership, we are business friendly, while at the same time, we are also people-centric. We have to look after our people. With that, once again, Konghi Pachai, and I wish you all the best.